Hi YouTube, Mikey Packet here. It is now very cold in Japan, so hence the hat that makes me look like one of the 7 dwarfs. I have decided that my name is going to be YouTubey or Limpy. What do you think? So yeah. This was bought for me last year actually by my wife during Christmas again, when I actually fell down and hurt my head a bit. So it's a little bit of a bleed which was sewn up, and it looked a bit obvious to people around me. So I bought this bobble hat, as it were. Anyway, I'll take it off, because actually this is rather serious. There's been a news story recently in the Japan Times, which I thought was worth shining a little bit of a light on, actually. And the news story is 1,500 disabled Japanese abused in half-year period. It's from Kyodo News Agency, which is sort of like the Associated Press, but for Japan only, as it were. And I'm reading from a reprint of the report in the Japan Times here, and the link's down below, by the way. A total of 1,505 disabled people were reported to have been abused by family members or care workers between October 2012 and March of this year, so 2013, according to the first nationwide survey by the Health Ministry on the abuse of disabled. This survey, released on Monday, showed that there were 3 cases in which victims died, prompting the Health, Labour, Welfare Ministry to pledge stronger efforts to prevent abuse against disabled people, whether it is through violence, verbal attacks, or embezzlement of their pension money. The survey was conducted following a new law requiring those who fear a disabled person is being abused must report it to the local authorities. By the way, the new law, whilst it did actually appear in newspapers when it was passed very briefly, rarely appeared in English and rarely was translated, and even the name of the new law wasn't given, just that a new law was, out there. So it's very difficult to find out information about that. I'll continue there. Of total, 1,329 disabled people were abused by 1,527 family members, such as parents and siblings, in 1,311 cases, while 176 were maltreated by care workers in 80 cases. Reports were made about 939 suspected abuse cases by care workers, but local authorities were unable to determine whether maltreatment had actually occurred in many cases. By type of abuse by family members, physical violence such as beating amounted to 790 cases, whilst neglect and abandonment stood at 277 cases. Based on reports, local authorities separated abuse victims from family members in 450 cases and urged abusers not to repeat offences against disabled in other cases. Meanwhile, of the 176 people maltreated by care workers, 97 were intellectually challenged, 70 were mentally handicapped, and 35 were physically disabled. Some had more than one disability. By type of abuse by care workers, there were 46 physical abuse cases, 42 psychological abuse cases, including discriminatory treatment of disabled, and 10 sexual abuse cases. Some suffered more than one type of abuse. Separately, the Welfare Ministry said in June that 194 disabled people suffered abuse at their workplace in the second half of the fiscal year of 2012. And that's the end of the article. I'll take a bit of a pause there because it's actually quite difficult to read that much out. I said, don't rely on me saying the words, but read the article down below. Now, to me, that's a bit low. I know that sounds so cynical, but a total of 1,505 disabled people were reported to be abused by family members or care workers only between October 2012 and March this year. So, a 6-month period, basically. Now, even if we were to assume that was a trend, and so the rest of the year would be the same, that would still make it, 3,010. And in a country with billions, that does seem a little low. For example, the disability I have, cerebral palsy. 1 in 200 people have that. So so if you put that on a population-wide basis, then yeah, the numbers should actually be higher. This needs further investigation, in my view. And well, I don't know how you could do that investigation, of course, because ultimately there are issues of consent and issues of medical histories, and you don't want to make things worse for these abuse cases, these people actually being abused. But something to me doesn't quite add up about that. If this was a stat in Britain, I'm afraid to say I would expect it to be higher. But in terms of land mass and population, Britain is comparable. Well, it's not cheery. If you wanted cheery, you should go and look at my other vlog from tonight. And I've just got my shoes back from the cobbler. But yeah, I just thought, read the link down below. Don't just listen to me, because I don't know anything really. I'm just musing. But read the link down below and make your own mind up. Yeah, bye.